You guys, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So like different liquidity pools offer farming. So like this pool here, right? You could go to this pool, so this USDC and algo, right? And you can add or remove liquidity. But you also have different options with these pools. If you go to view pool detail, it'll show you like the farming options and things like that, right? You can swap, which we'll just click on that just to show you. Like if you wanted to trade USDC for algo, then you could go to the swap on Tinyman or vestige. You can swap on vestige too, but we'll just keep it on Tinyman for now. So if you wanted to swap like $1 of USDC for algo, you would just put the dollar in, it'll convert it and tell you how much algo you get. And then you click here, it'll tell you the whether it's going to have a negative or really like a small or big impact. It'll tell you if it's like an expensive price impact. But you would just hit the swap, confirm it. Every transaction's got to be confirmed from your wallet. And then it's just going to swap the USDC for the algo.
Hey, they won't say that you can actually have multiple wallets on Tinyman, or am I true?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've got several.
How you do that, man?
You just set up a new wallet and connect it to Tinyman. So, like, so you click here, you can disconnect, right?
Yeah, you can disconnect.
Right. So you just have another Para wallet or any of the other wallets that you choose, and then same way you can connect that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, back to what I was saying is you can go to these pools and click on the pool details, and you can swap. But you see down here where it says farm, you can take the assets that you have already put into the liquidity, and you can farm those to earn rewards too. And they'll actually give you airdrops of whatever the tokens are for rewards. It might be algo, it might be Tinyman. Some of them you can actually farm multiple. Sorry.
Hey, do you use crypto.com?
I do personally. Yeah, I use like quite a few. But I just use it. I use it.
Yeah, I know Nathan.
Most people do. Like, I try not to have too much linked to my social security number and things like that.
I got you.
So you can add more liquidity to the farms and things too while you're in here. And then if you notice, I clicked the first farm and I'm farming for Tinyman. So those are actually going to send me Tinyman rewards to my wallet. And then it's got a separate farm down here, and it's got different percentages, APR rates on the farms. So this one's going to give you 19.31%. This one's going to give you 10.62% of Tinyman, but this one's going to actually give you algo. And you can farm both at the same time. So that's what's pretty cool. And some liquidity pools will actually let you farm 2 to 3 times.
Did I just hear Rick?
What was that?
I thought I just heard my buddy Ricky.
Oh, what's up, man?
Oh, it's Gigatron. That's who I was.
You go down. See, I already claimed those, right?
What's up, man?
Or actually, those are the two that I just staked. Actually, these two, right? So, but these are ones that were already running, and you can just come on to Tinyman and claim those rewards, and those are from the farms that I already had set up. So that's money that I already have in there collecting transaction fees that I'm just compounding again and getting paid again for the same money. Really, that's really what it's all about. You're just taking the same money and compounding, building interest, building percentages. Like Nathan stated before, every penny counts, especially if that penny turns to $1.
Hey, you want a real math question real quick? Like, how much money would I have to add to USD and algo pool to get a 10% cut?
how much would you have to add to the USDC algo to get
Yeah.
10% cut? What do you mean 10% of the pool?
Yeah, 10% of the pool.
Oh wow. Well, let's
You
see.
know, I ask these
Yeah,
math questions
4
all the time.
million.
You would take the total lock value of the pool
I know,
and
right?
multiply it by times 0.1.
Damn, thanks, Nate. My man. Listen, man, I'm telling you,
The
Nate.
TVL is
$7 million.
4.37. That's 4,373,000. Might as well call that 4,374,000. And then you're gonna want what, 10% of that? Okay.
Yeah. So 10% of what? 4 million?
You need about
4.3 million?
$437,000.
Damn, that ain't too
Just
bad.
off the top
Actually.
of my head. What is it? Like, put it in the calculator.
No, I was just curious because
Yeah.
that's
So
something
yeah,
I ain't thought
but that's 10% of that pool, you know?
Yeah, okay.
But you know, a smaller pool, of course, you can get more with less. And that's really what it's about. You don't have to have no insane amount of money. You know? And liquidity pools work a lot like folks finance. It's just kind of like a faster way to make bigger moves, if that makes sense. I really only use folks finance to kind of play the market. But I guess that'd be a whole separate class or whatever. But yeah, I don't use it like most people do. I use it to be able to obtain the assets I need at that time without affecting the price. So I can borrow these assets without actually having to exchange one of the assets that I'm in a liquidity pool with, affecting the price of that, right? Because if I pay off $5 in USDC with $5 of algo, that can create a huge impact on like Tiny Man when it comes to like the USDC wave or cycle pool or the algo cycle and wave pool, particularly the algo, because the stable coin, you know, is going to keep value, which means it's going to go, not going to really go up or down either way, whether it's up or down, if that makes sense. It's going to be $1 basically no matter what, but algo can fluctuate. So if you sell algo to pay off USDC on Focus Finance, then it's going to take value from the algo and cycle pool or the algo and wave pool, and you're not really going to gain much value in the USDC pool because it's not going to fluctuate like that. But you can use that to your advantage too. We're not going to get into all that. We're going to keep it simple. Is there any questions so far?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Okay.
So on Bolt Finance, where it's showing the multipliers for the point,
Yep.
I don't really understand what those points are for, and I've seen how you can set it up with the exchange. I don't really understand what those points do.
Well, the points were actually originally on the exchange, and like you didn't get them for trading on algorithm, but recently they just brought the points over to the algorithm chain, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they're even retroactive. So maybe the entire time they've been available on the exchange, they're actually going to you'll get points. Is from my understanding, is what that means.
Because I have almost 20,000 points, and I don't know what I can do with them.
You know, honestly, this is a new thing to me too. I'm figuring this one out. So maybe
Me
that's
too.
something we need to
Me
pay
too.
some attention to.
As far as the
If
points
anybody has
go,
any insight, that'd be
the
great.
new system for distributing airdrops here lately throughout 2024, it's been said that protocols will be use a points-based system to validate people's wallets and interactions with their platforms to distribute airdrops. So when Folks Finance distributes any kind of an airdrop in the future, the thinking is that it's going to be allocated based on your interaction with the protocol, which is going to be reflected in your points.
Ah.
Okay,
So
awesome,
basically, the more active you are, the more airdrops you're getting.
All right.
Yeah, and as far as
like your profits,
.com, if you're going to use crypto.com to get any crypto, just make sure that you go and before you buy or sell anything, go to their mission control and get the diamonds, because they will give you kind of like
So,
points again.
Yep.
Yeah, you can get free pro
what
coins for
about
using that.
Go ahead.
what about using liquidity pools as like a strategy? Like if you know an asset going down, uh, and another
Your
asset is
value.
going to hold or go up, how you
Okay.
can
I got you.
strategically use that to hold value.
Okay, so let's say that, all right, so we're like right here. We got a lot of value and liquidity with Wave and Algo, right? So if Algo was to just start tanking and we wanted to secure the value that we have, we could go to the liquidity pool, to Wave and Algo, and we could remove it. You know, you can choose, you know, however much it is. You know, it could be, you know, 90%, 10%, 50%, or whatever. But you could remove that liquidity in whatever percentage you chose, right? Now, when you remove it, here's a cool thing about it. That's when you collect your transaction fees, when you remove from the liquidity pools. And so so if Algo's going down, you remove liquidity. And then you would confirm that with your wallet. Okay, that's not saying the transaction. Of course it would.
Well, Algo going down can hurt the other token it's paired with.
You're cutting out.
I said that so Algo going down will influence the price of the token it's paired with.
Yes, of course, because if Algo goes down, then you lose value in that liquidity pool. So what's it going to do to the other asset if that asset isn't losing the exact same amount of value? It's going to sell that asset to buy more of the asset that just lost value, right? So if you're building an asset, the last thing you want is to have it paired with one that's going down, because it's just going to keep sucking value from your asset to boost that one up. So what you could do is like you would remove the liquidity from the asset that's going down, like I just did, and then you would go to a stable, right? And you would add that value to a stable. So you could swap that. You could go to the swap and you could swap the asset that was just going down for the stable, right? And lock that into the stable. And then once you do that, you're going to secure the value. And then you've also still leave liquidity with that asset. So when it does go back up, it's actually going to bring your asset back up with it, because what happens when an asset goes up in the liquidity?
So don't just remove the liquidity and while it hold the token, reestablish it dollar for dollar with a stable coin.
That's what I would suggest.
Okay.
There's multiple ways to go about it. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do with liquidity pools, but you know, we're just going to keep it simple for right now, because we got a lot of new people. So, you know, we're trying to just kind of get the foundation right now. And
that makes a lot of
going to
sense.
offer advanced classes though for people that's like serious and get in here and understand. So you can get in touch with me or with Walt, or actually, you know, with Nathan as well, about if you're interested in that. So anyway, so it's always a good idea to add stable. Like you're never going wrong with stable value. It's the reason why they call it stable, because it ain't going nowhere. So that's really like what I'm more concerned with. Like if we, how do you get that? So if you go to like investments and stuff, like a lot of people, they can look at the price, they want to know what that looks like and all that, like TVO ratio and everything. I've stated before that I would like my stable TVL to be over my market cap, but that's later on down the road. I'm gonna close some of these time out. Okay, so anytime you're going to add liquidity, you're going to want to do proportional. But in this case, if you notice it's going to try to sell a penny of Wave to give it to USDC. I would probably prefer that the USDC buy more Wave, right? So you can actually kind of trade assets the same way you would on Folks Finance or swapping on the Parallel Wallet or whatever, right here in the liquidity pools. but you got to know what you're doing, right? Because you don't, like I said, if one asset is more than the other, it's going to sell the larger asset to compensate. So I don't, if it's going to sell anything, I don't want it to sell my asset, the one that's paying me the most. So if anything, I'm going to probably do a flexible.
Do the liquidity pools on PAC work pretty much identical to Tiny Man?
Say it again. Liquidity pools on where?
Do the liquidity pools on PAC, do they work just the same way as Tiny Man?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, they offer different farming and staking options and things like that. I mean, it's its own separate platform, but it's a basic foundation of liquidity pools, basically like Tiny Man. So is like really Compex and Folks Finance and all of them. They're all using liquidity pools. I don't want to go too far into it, but anytime you're collateralizing an asset on Folks Finance, what do you think they're doing? Okay, so anyway,
They pulling and receiving out of their own pools.
there you go.
They
Smart
buy
man.
and sell out of their own pools.
Smart man. But it's all
Right.
tied to liquidity anyway, because let's say that you want to borrow an asset and maybe they don't. Have you ever tried to swap an asset on Vestige and or anywhere really, and it say that it can't find a route or there's not enough liquidity between those assets? So it's gonna like that's the cool thing about Vestige, and that's why like you get cheaper like swaps and stuff like that because it's gonna go to like all the platforms and pick through all the liquidity pools to find the fastest and cheapest route.
Hey, it's not really that bad to just swap it on folks neither.
No. Well, I mean, like I said, I use Folks Finance, so I don't have to swap. I can just buy, like say, Bitcoin's going up. I could just borrow in Bitcoin and go put it into my liquidity pools in time. That's kind of what I would do. So, like, yeah. So, say I needed. As a matter of fact, that's a good. I'm glad we got there. That's what I would be doing right now anyway. Is algo in Bitcoin. So, I guess first thing I should.
If you hold so many Vestige coins, there are zero trading fees.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing too.
So would you get more value or price out of like tying it with a Bitcoin, or would you be get more of an increase if you tied it to something like algo when it's cents versus tens of thousands of dollars? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it doesn't matter if either one goes 10x. Doesn't matter if it's a cent or if it's $1 million token.
Yeah, it's still bringing value.
10x is 10x either way it goes. So however much money you got tied in that, that's how much you're gonna get. So never max out the algo, y'all, for real, because you'll lock the whole thing down. Oh, wait a minute. See, look, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go make sure. Refresh. I'm gonna make sure that it's not gonna
You gotta keep the algo in there all the time.
Yeah. That's right. So I'm getting new to this whole. Okay. Just went through with it. Okay. So let's say that I wanted to get Bitcoin, right? But I didn't want to have to like sell algo or maybe I wanted maybe I wanted to put the USDC that I had into stable TVL and also add Bitcoin, right? I didn't want to change the price of any of the assets or mess with liquidity or anything. But then I would probably go to Folks Finance, me personally, and then I would borrow, Oh, here we go. No. There we go. I would just borrow the Bitcoin that I need, right? And so now, when I borrow, it goes to the wallet. And so then I can go to TimeView and go to my pool with Bitcoin. I gotta wait. There we go. All right, and see, look. So I was able to obtain the Bitcoin without affecting price of another asset, and I'm actually going to use the Bitcoin to put in liquidity, adding value away, but also adding to the price too, because we're going to cop 10 cents in the process of 9.
Hey, I've got another question.
All right.
Will you explain how, let's say if you plan on holding an asset for 6 months or a year or 2 years, how the price in the pools will go up and down, you can retain your token, and what are the advantages of riding the dip instead of getting scared every time you see red?
Okay. The advantages are, let's say I have $1,000 in the Wave and Algo pool, right? And those $1,000 is 500 in Wave, 500 in Algo. But between that $500 worth of value are however many Algo tokens it takes to get to 500, and however many Wave tokens it takes to get to $500 worth of value. And so those tokens are the amount of tokens you have, as long as you don't sell, are going to remain the same. So if the value, or not really the value, my bad, if the price of Algo goes down, then the value of each token that you hold decreases, right? So you might log on to the account and you might see that you've lost 10% of the value, or what you think is value, but you're really just losing the price, because all it is a price tag. But the value is still there in those coins as long as you hold them, because when it goes back up, if you have the same amount of tokens that you had before it went down, or like me personally, I would buy more when it goes down. When it goes back up, because it's going to go back up, every downturn ends in an upturn. Then the amount of tokens you have goes up. So the value, you don't lose. The only way you lose money is if you participate and cash out. How does that?
So if you're long holding an asset, you need to be more concerned with how many tokens you hold, not the dollar value.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying? Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
And yeah, unless, I mean, but make sure that's like a stable asset, though, you know, like, you know, you don't want to have 1 million tokens worth of a rug pull.
Right.
But yeah, it's actually a very good point.
Asset that you plan on holding a long time.
But yeah, there's definitely a difference in building an asset or holding an asset for a long-term investment, and like day trading, or even like trading to cash out profit per week. I mean, you can do all of that. That's the cool thing about decentralized finance and liquidity pools, especially. Because here's the cool thing about liquidity pools, right? Say you do have a lot of money tied in cycle or wave, right? And you have a lot of money tied with wave and other assets, or cycle and other assets, right? But say you're heavily invested in cycle or wave. All right, you don't want to take value from those two assets, because those are the ones that's probably paying you the most. So I would go to one of these other pools like Wave and XUSDC or XUSD, and go, and you can remove. Now, when you remove liquidity, whatever the value, See, it says, okay, if I remove that, it's going to remove 316. Well, half of that's going to be in XUSD, right? The other half is going to be in Wave. So you can remove liquidity and you can take the XUSD and go spend it or go do whatever you need to do with it without really draining the price. You might take a little bit out of the TVL, or if it is a stable coin, you would remove some of the stable TVL, but it's going to be a lot less of an impact if you just remove from your liquidity pools and then take that asset that's not wave or cycle and use it to do what you need to do. And then you've also got the wave that you can come and stake. Oh, and not to mention, see, the cool thing about liquidity pools too is you can come over here and you can stake like all of your liquidity pools that you have with like wave and cycle. You can come and stake on the block cycle app. And you can actually get airdrops of all these different coins and stuff. So here's like the wave and cycle pool. You can stake that. The cycle and Pigo pool. You can, of course, you can stake your wave and your cycle USDC. The wave and algo, you can stake it. You know, so you can take, once again, you can take that same money and cycle it through different ways of making more money off the same money. And so that's how you really get run a bag up without having to have a huge bag in the first place. And all of this, this particular wallet right here, all of this I started with $300. I made a loan on folks with $300. And then, you know, here it is compounded. Let's see, I could probably pull, honestly, it says,
I use cheat codes.
I could move that around and probably turn that into about 1,200 that I could just pull out in whatever asset I need right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, you remember how you showed me about the loans and not completely closing them out?
Yes.
But
I'm gonna save that for the advanced class. But one thing about don't close the loan completely out because it costs if you pay attention to when you first opt into the assets or the loans or whatever, it charges you more algo. And so if you close that loan all the way out and then restart like a new loan, then you have to pay that initial fee again, which is more than just the 0.001 algo transaction fee. But is
so
that what you were talking about, or were you talking about the actual strategy?
You talking about when you close it?
Oh, no, I mean, I was talking about, how you save fee and how you use the loan more than once.
Yeah. Keep the loan open that way. If you ever want to go back and use it, you don't have to pay that. I think it's like 10 times the amount or something. Like, so it's not like the normal 0.001 algo per transaction. You got to pay like an initial fee, kind of like you're opting in. So keep the loans open, don't close them all the way out. That's why, like, if you look on some of these, like my loans, whatever, like these are just ones that I've actually separated out. That one's wrap bit, obviously. That's go bit, and it's on and so forth. And then also these deposits, right? So every bit of this is just like basically, it's kind of like gas fees, really, I guess. So all of this is just building more interest, and so I'm building like 8.27% on this, and like I haven't put any money in this at all. This is literally just pennies and like dust from transacting and paying off loans on folks' finance, or which honestly I do that with Tiny Man and liquidity pools because I can maneuver assets around in the liquidity pools, which if I move stuff around here and it creates it raises the value of algo, then when I go to folks' finance, of course my algo collateral is going to be up. Right. So now I've got more collateral to pay off borrows or to swap or to reduce back to my wallet, to be able to use or whatever. And, like I said, one cool thing is instead of having to take this algo and sell it, I could collateralize it and then borrow in whatever the asset is. So if I wanted to take that, I could
instead of borrowing, you're compounding your yield.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not really too concerned about my percentages on folks finance because I'm more concerned about the value that I'm going to have locked in liquidity pools, because that's really where that's where the value comes from. You know, the price comes from just buying and selling, but the actual value of an asset comes from the liquidity. So anyway, so like boom, so I added that, so now I've got more collateral to be able to borrow against, right? So if I think I added like 94, 95 bucks or something or whatever. So now I could borrow, like if I wanted to right now, I could just borrow like 470 bucks, right? But I keep my loan on folks finance like that in case, I guess kind of like a backup plan. But really it's so I have assets available to build my asset and cycle and, you know, depending on the market, if that makes sense. And that's also another way of like, you know how earlier you asked me about, well, how could I secure value in an asset that was dropping? And I said, well, you could remove from the liquidity pools and then take that and buy the USDC and put into the liquidity pool with the stable. Well, you could literally do the same thing with the way I just did it. You could remove from that pool, go to folks finance, collateralize that amount, then come back to your pools after you borrow the USDC. And then, you know, so you could, I'm going to, all right. So see, I don't want to take value from cycle to add to USDC. So. No, it's fine. It's a perfect example because look, if I do this right, what it's going to do is it's going to take 90 cents, which is almost a dollar. And so not only am I going to lock in value and liquidity with this, so I'm going to gain, you know, like $100 worth of TVL, but I'm also going to add to the price and value of cycle with a stable that's not going to lose, right? And then I'm going to go away and do the same thing. All right, see, it's trying to do the same. Yeah, we'll do the same thing. And so that was actually a way of removing from an asset that can fluctuate and securing value in a stable liquidity pool with an asset that'll actually stay the same and kind of hold value for you, right? And I showed you two ways to do it. You could either remove from liquidity and add, you know, remove from liquidity, swap that asset for another. But when you do that, if let's say like algo, for instance, if algo is already going down, and then you remove from the algo pool and then sell the algo for USDC, it's going to actually drop the price of algo more. So if you were going to do that, you would really want to like remove all of the liquidity with that particular asset before you sell it off, because if it goes down, it's going to drain value to try to sustain itself. So preferably, I would suggest doing the folks finance way because you were able to get those assets to secure value, and you still got that collateral. So at any time, if you want to go back and then reduce it, you can do that too, or borrow more. You know. Any questions?
Yeah. So how can we check and see the APR of the liquidity pools on Tiny Man?
Well, I mean, this right here give you the APYs right here is more what I'm worried about. there, and that it'll give you like the percentages depending on what assets how much you have in there, it's going to change, right? So your share of the pool is going to be, is
Which will be divided by the
right.
how
Yeah, it's
many
going to decide like
participants.
what your APY is, because the yield is really what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to gain.
I'm kind of curious about the algo price. How is that calculated on this blockchain? Is it like
The
the
algo
price
price?
of algo at a 10-minute time, or because it ain't constantly fluctuating, even though there's always a sell and a buy. It jumps up and down, but not like milliseconds like it should if the community is like really huge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you're
Because
saying
I have
the
Ethereum.
price of algo?
like if it was instant, it would be instant, and we all know it ain't instant.
No,
So
well, you got to understand that every time you trade one asset for another, especially if it's like a popular asset or a stable asset, it's gonna be in liquidity with almost everything. Algo is the currency of the blockchain that we trade on, so there's a good chance that whatever token you're gonna trade with is got liquidity with algo. Same with like USDC, XUSD. You know what I mean? Those are like fundamental tokens. Of course, anybody that's been in here and learned some stuff, they're going to have some Bitcoin. They're going to have, so you got to keep in mind if you're trading any of the popular assets, it's going to be in liquidity with all the other ones. So
If you
there's no
actually,
such thing as not affecting other assets.
if you actually get on Vestige and do a swap, where it's right underneath the chart with a low liquidity token, you can actually see the candlestick move a little bit.
Yeah.
So it does do it instantaneous on Vestige, but I believe that the TVL of algo is so high that what
It's got to
we're
be big
doing
moves.
typically isn't big enough to affect the
It's got to
price.
be big moves.
But
I
on
got
low
you.
liquidity
Or
tokens, you do notice it.
or you would have to have like no liquidity with other assets or stable assets and have heavy liquidity with that particular asset. You can do that too.
Okay. That sounds good, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, by the way.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving for sure.
And happy Easter next year. If that's the next holiday after 2000. I don't know.
I'm trying to. So let's see.
Yo, I want to
All right,
say
so, I've been busy. Okay, so we're at 72.24%. Say it again.
I want to say y'all are doing a great job and whatnot.
Well,
I'm
thank you.
going through Facebook recovery, so if y'all don't see me on Facebook promoting, I'm on other platforms promoting. And
Okay.
But bear with me about Facebook. I'm still working on that.
All right. Hey, JoJo.
You already know we're gonna be right here doing it. We waiting on you, and we already know you're doing your thing too.
Appreciate that. I appreciate what y'all got going on too. Like keep these classes up. Work on being here every Wednesday to get new insight on what y'all got going on with the LPs. It's good information.
We trying, man.
I heard there's a lot going on. There's music.
Really cool, man. It's like 2025 is gonna be exciting. It's gonna be super cool.
We got a wealth wave mobile. I'm like, what the?
Yeah,
It's just a mobile, bro.
it is.
That's
I got a turbocharged smart car.
Chris, let me find out you wrapped the Buick with Wealth Wave.
No, I still got to do this, old school. But I did get a turbocharged smart car.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
Do
time.
you feel any more intelligent? You're an awful tall dude to be in a smart car, bro.
Yeah, I know. I can't fit in it. I'm gonna have to give it.
Probably look like me in that vet.
I thought you had to get in them by sitting backwards and he spin you around or something like that. Like
That's
it's
Steve
kind of like
Urkel
a
car.
Transformer thing, huh?
That's a Steve Urkel car, man.
It looks like a Fiat. Man. It's really like it's like a go-kart with fairings on it.
Chris, let me find out you look like the white Urkel in a smart car.
Hey, it's turbocharged, bro. You ain't gonna see me in it. Anyway, any
I-
other questions on liquidity or staking or oh yeah, don't forget your segments. You know what I'm saying? Because we literally gonna take all of that and put it right back into this.
That might be a nice next class is the segments
Oh
because
yeah,
I haven't got into that much at all.
yeah, man. Those are really cool. I'll go over them just kind of quick, man. It's like you got everything, man. You can link every type of wallet. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know you got your main verified addresses, but you can link all your socials. You can sell. There's a vault, so you can lock assets in the vault. It's going to show all like the tokens, all the NFTs, all the things like that that you hold. You can list items for sale. So it's like a web store. It's like a wallet. You know, and then you got the things that you've created. It's really cool, man. There's a lot of stuff you can do. But yeah, that'd be like a whole separate class. Probably really need to get with JoJo on that. She's fire with that. She the one that taught me.
Okay.
Well,
Y'all
her.
don't forget about Wave on YouTube.
Oh yeah. We've been working on getting the YouTube channel going and everything else, man. We got a lot of exciting things coming. The record label. Oh yeah, we're gonna go ahead and keep that on the rats for a minute. Anyway, I think that's it, man. Unless anybody's got any other questions.
Yeah. What? How long do you cook a turkey in the oven for? I think it's past due.
Yeah, I don't do that.
About 2 hours.
He call you a turkey.
No, I
man?
really cook, man. I love to cook. But I have no idea how long.
I put some onions and lemons in mine, bro.
I told you to do that, man. It's fine.
No,
But you gotta
man,
put the butter,
I heard
bro.
it two times
You gotta stuff the
in one
butter
day.
between the skin and the turkey. And it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Man, I can't wait.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. And I guess we'll see you next Wednesday.
Happy thanks, man. See y'all.
Appreciate y'all.